50 Cent has been working on this documentary for almost 2 years. The footage he has is insane. The people he got speaking about Diddy is ridiculous. And on top of that, the only place he agrees to do the interview, Rob, if you can show this, he goes and interviews with ABC. And there's an Instagram post he put up, Rob. I don't know if you have that or not. If you go on his Instagram account, he goes and does the interview about Diddy's documentary on ABC.
We have to talk about Tupac, which I wasn't committed to, but then I watched the doc. So
didn't know you were getting that.
You have a lot of people saying stuff in there that makes it sound like maybe he was responsible for that murder. Which has never been proven. That's a very serious thing.
But you have Keefy D over in Vegas now, getting ready to go on trial for that case, saying those.
Tupac. I already know who shot me. I believe in karma. I believe in all of that.
We are here today to announce the arrest of Keefy D for the murder of Tupac Shakur.
Burn, motherfucker, you deserve to die. Talking about you getting money, but it's funny to me. All you niggas living for me while you fuck.
Once you share it, I'll refine every detail, correcting names, tightening the facts, and transforming it into a powerful narration-ready script designed to maximize viewer retention and deliver a polished, professional storytelling experience.
After I heard Tupac got shot, and I was so weak I damn near fell over. I immediately flew to Vegas, and I walked in the room, and I seen him laid out on the bed with all kind of tools in him, and his mom came over to me, and she grabbed me, she held me up, and she said, "Baby, you got to be strong." And I went and sat next to him and whispering to him, telling him I loved him, and to hold on, and he was going to be okay. And even in that moment, his mom was thinking more about me than herself and showing me how to love strong.
I told you can't trust these. Now Puffy don't keep Tupac, man.
50 Cent went on stage last year and said this.
Maybe I said it because he got Tupac.
You know, and I know, that everyone believes that Diddy was involved in both these shootings and had a direct involvement in your brother's death. That is what the streets have said for 27 years. That's why 50 Cent said it. That's why Eminem has said similar stuff. Would you be comfortable saying that you believe Diddy had nothing to do with it?
No, I wouldn't be comfortable saying that because I don't know. If you look at all the theories, the theory involving him is quite high on the list.
Ron, any comments? Any comments on the trial so far? Any opening statements?
He's having his day.
He's having his day?
He's having his day. We trust the justice system.
Thank you, sir.
God is good.
Netflix's latest documentary series offers a bold and immersive deep dive into the life and tragic death of Tupac Shakur, revisiting one of hip-hop's most controversial eras. It explores the long-standing speculation surrounding music mogul Sean Diddy Combs with a measured approach, avoiding accusations while unpacking the rivalries, cultural tensions, and unanswered questions that define the time, ultimately delivering a gripping and thought-provoking look at one of music history's most enduring mysteries.
That claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect, but I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
Because you listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody to kill Pac? But no, you do it like a journalist.
Yeah, no, I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense.
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah.
In Sean Combs, The Reckoning, filmmakers chart Sean Diddy Combs' rise from ambitious entrepreneur to one of hip-hop's most powerful figures, a legacy established long before his recent legal controversies. The documentary takes a deeper look at his increasingly strained relationship with Tupac Shakur, with Tupac's cousin William Lassane, describing the tension between them as intense in the years leading up to tragedy. Set against the explosive East Coast-West Coast rivalry that defined an era, the series weaves together revealing interviews and first-hand accounts to capture the pressure, competition, and shifting alliances surrounding both icons, ultimately revisiting the cultural divide and unanswered questions that continue to fuel speculation about the events leading to Tupac's fatal shooting in Las Vegas in 1996.
From the former president of Bad Boy, Kirk Burroughs, who alleged during this time, Diddy had him hiring a whole bunch of people and getting cars to drive to Las Vegas. And he is now very curious curious into why Diddy wanted to do this. And he said in his opinion, he now believes that Diddy was behind taking out.
William Lassane speaks candidly, describing the tension between the two stars as intense and deeply rooted, suggesting that Sean Diddy Combs may have felt increasingly challenged by Tupac Shakur's rising influence and unapologetic independence. Rather than placing blame, he encourages viewers to look at the bigger picture surrounding the 1994 New York shooting, a moment clouded by confusion, fear, and escalating rivalries, and question how much anyone truly understood at the time. Adding further depth, industry veteran Gene Deal reflects on the immense competitive pressure surrounding both artists, highlighting the emotional and professional strain it placed on Diddy, ultimately underscoring the complexity of one of hip-hop's most volatile and defining eras.
Puff took Tupac blueprint and changed Biggs and Bad Boy in image. I Get Around talked about how fly you was, how many girls you mess with, how many cars you drive, how much money you got, what you willing to do. He took his image. Pac was the first one on the scene wearing Versace shirts. He went and got the same Versace shirts Pac had. Which, alright, some dudes would do that. You would never catch me wearing something else, something that somebody else got. He was knocking down all the women that he thought Pac was knocking down. And what I mean is having sex with them. Why would you want to have sex with women you know for sure a dude that was once cool with you was dealing with?
Alongside William Lassane's insights, Tupac Shakur's stepbrother, Maprim Shakur, emphasizes that the circumstances surrounding Tupac's death still demand careful and ongoing examination. He argues that uncovering the truth requires looking beyond headlines, analyzing every perspective, the cultural climate of the time, and the key figures who shaped that turbulent era. His perspective reinforces a powerful idea. The full story behind Tupac's tragic death remains unresolved, keeping the search for answers alive even decades later.
Saying that you want to see how serious the Vegas PD is going to take this case. Because Keefy D is people that he name dropped that you want to see if they're going to investigate.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm curious to see how they plan to deal with the case, because he, in his own admissions, mentions other people. You know, are they going to say what happened to these people? Yes, Puffy being one of them. I don't know where that's going to lead, but I do believe there were accomplices, and I don't think all of them have been looked at. So, you know, because over the years, you know, it's a lot of years, you know, amongst the family, we talk, we want to figure it out too. We thinking certain things too. So, you know, we're waiting to see if we can trust this process. I feel like it's bigger because I haven't heard anything about that part of the story from the prosecutor's office. I haven't heard anything about Puffy from the prosecutor's office, even though Keefy D implicates him on these videos that they claim they're using to indict him. Even you got a Crip affiliate from somewhere, but you still not gonna talk about the guy that he mentions by name on the thing. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's exhausting. You know, or you know, I'm waiting to see how far they go, because that's what everybody's talking about. That's what everybody's talking about. What about Puffy? You know, so it would be weird that the prosecutor's office wouldn't know and address it. That's why I don't know whether to trust this shit or not.
Mopreme Shakur later shared a haunting memory from Tupac's final moments, revealing that his brother seemed to be trying to say something important before slipping away. Those unfinished words left a profound emotional weight, one that has stayed with Mopreme ever since and continues to drive his relentless pursuit of the truth behind what really happened.
Because you got so many conflicting stories, right? You got some people that say that, you know, Tupac was moving in the hospital, he was, you know, talking in the hospital, but you being there, from your point of view, how was Tupac condition?
By the time I got there, remember I was coming from LA, so by the time I got there, he had tubes in his throat, in his nose, in his mouth. So he ain't talk to me, not verbally. He was conscious. He was trying to talk. He did want to talk, but he didn't actually verbalize any words. I always, you know, that's one of my, gonna be one of the biggest mysteries in my life, because he was trying to tell me something. He was trying so hard. He was shaking the bed. He was looking at me, you know, with his big old eyes, you know, and I know he was trying to tell me something, but I don't know.
Something else I want to ask you, because I think it would be appropriate before we get off the Vegas thing, last thing, because I know I did an interview with Napoleon, and they all gave me their reasons why Afeni pulled the plug because of his condition, but I mean, it would be more appropriate since you was his brother. Afeni, her decision to pull the plug on him, from your point of view, what made her pull the plug? Respectfully.
Because he had already flatlined a couple of times. And she didn't want him to keep going through that. I think it was like twice before she, you know, let him go. And that's reasonable. You know what I mean? When I was, you know, when I found out, you know, I could live with it more.
Kirk Burroughs, the former senior executive at Bad Boy Entertainment, later suggested that the growing tension between Tupac Shakur and Sean Diddy Combs may have influenced the chaos of that era more than anyone fully realized. William Lassane echoed that view, describing how their relationship deteriorated as Diddy focused on accelerating the meteoric rise of the notorious B.I.G., while Tupac pursued his own fiercely independent path. What began as potential collaborations slowly turned into competition, intensifying an already charged atmosphere. That tension reached a critical point during Tupac's 1994 visit to Quad Recording Studios in New York, where he was ambushed and seriously wounded, an incident that remains one of hip-hop's most scrutinized turning points. Although Diddy, Biggie, and others were reportedly present in the building, authorities never linked them to the attack. Yet Tupac's lingering suspicions continued to fuel decades of debate, cementing the moment as one of the most controversial chapters in music history.
He was involved in the shooting?
Only they can answer that question. I have my own opinion, but I wouldn't slander their name like they did mine. I wouldn't say things that I knew, you know what I mean? I believe so. I do believe so. I have proved things that I can say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen, or that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody. Because you see what I said in the Vibe article. I basically bowed out and was going to go ahead about my life. The next issue, that wasn't even the next issue, because them cowards waited about 4 issues before they got their story together. 4 issues later, half of New Yorkers commenting on me getting shot. And before, they was all like, we didn't see nothing. In the first issue, we did, Vibe viewers. Nobody seen shit. The 4th issue, when they came back with a reply, everybody knew what I did. They knew what I said. I was acting. Who gets shot 5 times in acts? Oh, I didn't get shot 5 times in their vision. I only got shot once because they found the bullet. The police found it, but now they the cops. Now they doing detective work. They found the bullet. Oh, you found the bullet, huh? So what is this other shit in me then? What was the doctors talking about? What? Can you explain these other holes in me? How'd I get gunpowder all over me? That insulted my intelligence. So yes, I did say Thug Life was there. Yes, I bowed out, all of that. But when they said that,
Sean Diddy Combs has consistently denied any involvement, maintaining that neither he nor the notorious B.I.G. played a role in the Quad Recording Studios attack. However, industry veteran Gene Deal offers a contrasting perspective, suggesting the incident reflected the intense rivalries and mounting pressures that defined hip-hop at the time. By presenting these opposing viewpoints, the series delivers a nuanced and gripping portrait of the volatile relationships that shaped the 1990s, where ambition, competition, and loyalty collided, creating one of the most controversial and closely examined chapters in music history.
At Quad Studios?
Well, I don't think I'm not going to say he knew exactly he was going to get robbed, but he knew he was going to get dealt with. Because he was up there with Andre Harrell, and he was with Jimmy Henchman. And even though I think Pac may have owed Jimmy some money, or he was being disrespectful with Jimmy, and Jimmy ain't the type of dude that you was going to be disrespectful for, because he had some real wolves. And Jimmy was about it himself. You know what I mean? So now, in that essence, Puff is up there in the office with him. They know they about to deal with Pac. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the extent that Jimmy told him what they was gonna do to Pac, or he's gonna get dealt with or whatever like that. But I know Puff had a whip to what was going on.
Years later, in 2011, Dexter Isaac publicly claimed responsibility for his role in the 1994 Quad recording studio shooting, alleging he carried out the attack under instructions from a music industry figure present at the scene. His confession added a dramatic new layer to an already complex and controversial story. However, his claims remain part of a larger web of conflicting testimonies, unanswered questions, and ongoing speculation, underscoring just how disputed, intricate, and deeply debated this chapter of hip-hop history continues to be.
You know that he had another bracelet that was like a bicycle chain and with charms on it, right? Should I say that? All right. He had the diamond chain on with the chain with diamonds at each length going through it, right? He had a big stone on the diamond ring and a smaller stone, one for $35,000 and the one for $20,000. All right. So even Stretch that did this shit, I took his bracelet too, and changed it and put his name, my man's name on it, and took off the name on it. So motherfuckers claiming that this even
so hold on, homie.
Claiming that he was Tupac's stepdaddy, wrote me and wanted me to have my people meet him and give him back the chain and shit, talking about some redemption shit. You know, them niggas ain't had it, man.
So hold on, hey Dex. So that day that happened, November 30th, 1994, it wasn't just Tupac and Freddie Nichols. Stretch was with them too?
Stretch was with them too, yeah. Stretch set the whole shit up. He was in cahoots. He was giving us play-by-play where they was at. On their way there, he was in communication with Jimmy and shit. You know, Jimmy promised them two big eggs and shit.
Wow, so he sold Pac out for a quarter brick, basically.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
And
Killboy too.
Wow. Yeah.
James Jimmy Henchman, Rosemond has consistently denied any involvement, firmly maintaining he had no connection to the Quad recording studios incident. His stance adds yet another layer to an already tangled and contested narrative, highlighting just how much of this pivotal moment in hip-hop history remains clouded by uncertainty, unanswered questions, and ongoing debate.
I went to your office. There was a big frame picture photograph on one of your walls, and it had Tupac on it wearing a Henchman Entertainment t-shirt. Now, a few years ago, there was a guy named Dexter Isaac that came forward who claimed that you were connected to the Tupac shooting. Do you have anything to say about that?
No, 100%. I've never ducked from answering any Tupac questions, which I could understand if I don't know how Quad Studio morphed into, like I was in Vegas and was part of the shooters that actually ended in his demise. And let me say, me and Tupac were friends, and me and him were friends. I had nothing against Tupac. I liked him. He was younger than me. I'm sure that he looked up to me. There's many moments that me and Pac had that were very intimate, where he talked to me about things that he was afraid of or things that he loved to do, and all of those kind of things. here it is, you have a prosecutor and you have a guy who's in jail for life. When they pulled Dexter down to interview him in regards to what he knew about me and Tupac and so on and so forth, I have no doubt at this point that Dexter probably was the guy or one of the assailants on Tupac. But Dexter's story just doesn't make sense. Dexter tells a story that I wanted a ring for my fiance, and so I tell him to get the diamond ring from Tupac so I can give it to my fiance, and so on and so forth. He tells this magical story. The only person that can believe such a story is Todd Kaminsky, who was the prosecutor who was trying to make something out of nothing.
William Lassane reflects that the revelations over the years have forced him to reassess the full story, revealing just how tense and complicated the East Coast-West Coast rivalry truly was. As diss tracks flew and public statements stoked the flames, Tupac Shakur responded to perceived betrayals with fierce lyrics, while Sean Diddy Combs later acknowledged the feud seemed on the brink of real-world violence. The documentary also spotlights Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, now a key figure in ongoing investigations into Tupac's 1996 murder. In a 2008 proffer session, Davis candidly recounted his knowledge of the events, and former LAPD detective Greg Kading explains how these disclosures illuminate the alliances, pressures, and rivalries that defined one of hip-hop's most volatile and unforgettable eras.
Make it clear, man, when Puffy came to LA, you used to give him protection, right? From the Southside Crips, because he was scared of Suge Knight?
It speaks for itself, my brother. He was playing chess, and I guess we was playing checkers, cuz.
So he was really scared of Suge Knight like that, yo?
That's what it sounded like, yeah. Yeah.
Dwayne Keefe D. Davis recalled the genuine fear he felt as tensions skyrocketed, noting that the feud between Tupac Shakur and his rivals reached a fever pitch after the release of the incendiary diss track Hit 'Em Up. He described the atmosphere as unpredictable and highly charged, with every conversation weighed down by mounting pressure and escalating stakes. Through these first-hand accounts, the documentary captures just how volatile and dangerously competitive the hip-hop world had become, exposing the fear, rivalry, and unrest that loomed over some of the industry's most powerful and influential figures.
She said there was a story about a hit.
Right.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so there's, Keefe D claims that there is this ongoing conversation. It happens on 3 different occasions, but most specifically when he and Puffy are at this place called Greenblatt's Deli on Sunset. And they're there. Things have spiraled out of control. Puffy's really concerned about, the welfare of his safety. And he tells Keefe D, man, I just need you to take care of this situation with Suge and Tupac. It's out of control. Tupac's on vinyl talking about killing all of our kids when they grow up. And, it's just become this really serious conflict. And he says, I just need you to take care of him. And Keefe D's like, that's no problem. That's what we do. And so an agreement was made, according to Keefe D, for an amount of money. And they kind of just let it go at that point in time. But of course, Keefe D knows in the back of his mind, this is what Puffy wants done. And they all end up out in Las Vegas. Suge's out there.
Before you say that, there's a couple things I want to talk about for Vegas. So when you say that Keefe got offered an amount of money, according to him, was there a dollar amount?
Yeah, so there was a dollar amount. But I think that, the nuances of this conversation are that, like, man, I'll give you $1 million, whatever it takes. It's like exaggerated speech. But of course, when we interview Keefe D, he's like, yeah, that's the agreement amount, was $1 million.
So according to Keefe, he's claiming that Puffy offered him $1 million to kill Suge or Tupac?
Both. Yeah, both their names came up. And according to Keefe D, he says, Tupac's put himself on the list by all the talking that he was doing. But it was really about Suge, because it was Suge's muscle that Puffy was.
Beyond the controversies surrounding Tupac Shakur, Sean Diddy Combs has remained at the center of decades-long speculation, linked to some of hip-hop's most high-profile and scrutinized moments. The documentary dives into how these stories, true or not, shaped an era defined by suspicion, fierce rivalry, and relentless intrigue, capturing the intense pressure, tension, and competitive energy that dominated the music industry at its peak.
That Diddy paid him $1 million to try to take out Tupac and Suge Knight. Investigators early on already zeroed in on Keefy D because he is the uncle of Orlando Anderson, who was the main suspect in Tupac's unaliving. During this time, they believed that Keefy D was also in Vegas, and this is things that we have heard him say over the years in his multiple interviews, and one reason why he's on trial for the unaliving of Tupac. But then investigators really started to get curious when they found out that Keefy D was at the Peterson Museum the night that Biggie was unalived. Back in 1997, at the height of this investigation, police actually raided Keefy D's house for gang activity, and they seized one of the vehicles that were at his house because it matched the Chevy Impala description of the person who drove away after Biggie was unalived.
Keefy D was a shot caller for the Southside Crips and the uncle of Orlando Anderson. It was determined that Keefy D had been in Las Vegas along with his nephew Orlando the night Tupac was shot. Additionally, Keefy D's name had come up in the original Biggie investigation when it was discovered that he was at the party at the Peterson and he had access to a Chevy Impala.
After Tupac was shot, there was rumors on the street that Bad Boy Records owed the Southside Crips $1 million.
After seizing Keefy D's vehicle and raiding his house for gang activity, this is when investigators would first try to question Keefy D if he had any involvement in Biggie's unaliving. And at this point in time, he really didn't talk, and he told them that they were barking up the...
Kirk Burroughs reflected on the unusual details surrounding the night Tupac Shakur was shot, including the group's separate travel arrangements to the Mike Tyson fight, adding another layer of uncertainty to an already chaotic evening. The documentary also highlights Dwayne "Keef D" Davis's first-hand recollections while underscoring that Sean Diddy Combs has consistently denied any involvement and was never considered a suspect by Las Vegas authorities. Beyond that night, the series delves into the deep-seated tensions and rivalries between Tupac and Diddy, capturing a volatile mix of ambition, conflict, and relentless public scrutiny that not only gripped the hip-hop world but continues to fuel debate decades later.
That's a similar story to what I heard from somebody that I know is not, I know she's not lying because she had no reason to lie. First, she told me she saw somebody doing something to him, and she walked in and she thought, he didn't, he never said nothing. He didn't even acknowledge her. So she's thinking she's under the radar. Next thing, she's hanging out in Miami, and, she comes back and says she don't know what happened, and she woke up, and so,
What did she say she saw?
Someone giving him head. That's as far as I'll go, and then you could do the math.
Were they famous? Did she say they were famous?
Oh, no, they wasn't famous. They was an assistant working with her. Yeah. So.
An assistant. I want to guess, but I'm not.
She didn't tell me who no, it's not somebody that you would know. It was somebody that, she came there, she worked doing photography and, some type of media work where they shot ads and things like that. They were there to work, and she walked in the wrong bathroom and caught the wrong thing.
Oh, wow.
So, if she got drugged, it probably was some videotapes made to tell her to shut the hell up and don't repeat what she saw.
Tupac Shakur's death isn't the documentary's sole focus. The series also examines Sean Diddy Combs' complex relationship with the notorious B.I.G., probing how authentic and uncomplicated their bond really was behind the scenes. Drawing on insights from those closest to their inner circle, the film reveals a dynamic far richer and more nuanced than the public ever saw, showcasing a powerful partnership defined by loyalty, ambition, relentless pressure, and underlying tension, a relationship that helped shape one of hip-hop's most legendary alliances.
Burroughs, I want to go back to this interview that he did with Rolling Stone. He said that Diddy, he was jealous of the relationship between Tupac and Big, and he also went on to say that Diddy, he wanted to be friends with Tupac, but Tupac wasn't interested.
Diddy and Tupac was friends at first, bro. I remember the time me and Diddy rolled up to Pac in, I think it's what's the name of that club? The Roxy. There was some kind of concert going on, and they was talking and everything. They had a friendship. I don't know why their friendship fell out. Their friendship was before before Biggie and Pop. So I don't know why they fell out. I know every girl that Tupac had, Puff wanted and got. So did he have jealousy? Yeah, he had a jealousy of Pac. But I think that it was more so that he knew Big was the meal ticket. And that Pac wanted Big to be with him with Thug Life, but he didn't have the money at the time. And when Big got the money from Puff, Pac gave him the blessings to go with him, but he also told Big that he had to watch Puff because Puff was gonna rob him blind.
So you believe Kurt Burrows when he say that, Diddy, he was jealous of the relationship between Tupac and Big?
I don't know if I could say he was jealous with his relationship with Big. He didn't like Pac. It's something that happened between Pac and him that he didn't like.
Overall, the documentary delivers a gripping and immersive look at the intense rivalries, high-stakes drama, and deeply complicated relationships that define 1990s hip-hop. By exploring the conflicts surrounding legends like Tupac Shakur, the Notorious B.I.G., and Sean Diddy Combs, the series exposes decades of speculation, debate, and cultural intrigue. Presenting multiple perspectives on pivotal moments without drawing definitive conclusions, it challenges viewers to examine the evidence and decide for themselves what really happened, and sparks a conversation that continues to captivate fans to this day.